Hey guys, this is Lindsay with Garage Reviews. Today we have Destini on and we are going to talk all about protein. This is not our first conversation about protein powders. We've actually done a couple other videos before talking all about protein and information within those protein powders. So you can check that out on our YouTube channel or our website. But today we're going to concentrate on just a couple protein powders. I have a couple questions. Destini, how are ya?
I'm doing great. They call me the protein queen, so I'm excited today.
Honestly, I should start emailing you that way. Hey, protein queen. I love that. I think that's great. Also, if you have not subscribed to our channel, make sure to do so. We're going to talk about a couple different proteins today. If you want to purchase any of those, we've made it super easy. Place a link below the like button. When you use that link, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does give us an added commission, and honestly, we greatly appreciate it. And lastly, a couple of these were sent to us by the company, but this is a honest, transparent review, and we won't say anything that we really don't believe in. So let's talk about the protein powders, maybe what's good, what's bad, who they're for. I kind of want to give a brief overview and just talk about when we were going through this list and we are looking at, hundreds of protein powders on the market today. Things that we looked at were obviously the ingredients in the formulation within that. Does it use high quality ingredients? Is it researched backed dosage? Is it third party tested? Is there at least 20 grams of protein within that serving, which is something we've talked about before? What type of whey does it use, right? Is it whey protein isolate? Is it whey protein concentrate? What's the difference between those? Price, and then also flavoring. So I kind of want to hear just your stance on protein powders in general, if you can just go ahead and sum that easy question up for me.
I love protein powders, 100%, bar none. I love it, especially if it's whey. I love trying them. I love tasting them. I love having them. I love recommending them. And it's really great, especially for athletes or for people that are going through a cutting cycle. Lindsay, I believe you're going through one of those right now.
Sure.
When your protein needs are very, very high, trying to get all of that from food is pretty much impossible, especially with how satiating protein can be. So having a protein powder that's portable, shelf stable, you can just have it around for whenever you need it. You don't have to worry about it going bad. Really, really great for people like that.
Well, one thing, and this is kind of a separate topic, but going through this cutting cycle really forces you to look through the ingredients and the macro profile of everything you're eating. And obviously my protein's super high right now. It's at 160, okay? Which I love, I'm all for, but then you don't want your fat to be as high. And so balancing out how much protein can I get versus not making sure my fat is super high, I have to do a protein shake or sometimes two in order to get the appropriate protein in that day. So yeah. I'm all for it. And honestly, I love protein and I love protein powders. So I think it's great. Okay, so how much protein should we be looking for in a protein powder?
Ideally, you want to have at least 20 to 25 grams of protein per serving in your protein powder.
Okay, and why is that? Is there a reason behind that number?
There are some studies that show that at 20 grams of high quality protein, that's when muscle building, quote unquote, turns on. And that's when sort of the optimal amount of, hypertrophy starts to happen.
Sure. And okay, so obviously we want to be eating a high protein diet just in general. Is there a point where we say, hey, that's actually too much supplementation? Maybe eat some chicken or eat some tofu or something else, right? How much protein powder specifically in a day is too much protein powder?
I would say rule of thumb, you don't want to be getting more than 75 grams of your protein per day from a protein powder. The rest of it should come from food. If you feel like you need more than that or your protein needs are extremely high, I'm talking almost 250, 300, then you maybe want to talk to a sports dietitian to see what's the healthiest way for you to meet those protein needs without over supplementing. But yeah, no more than 75 grams a day for powder.
Okay, awesome. Now, what is the difference between whey protein isolate and then whey protein concentrate? Can you tell us the difference?
Sure. So whey protein concentrate isn't nearly as processed to remove all of the extra fat, carbs, and lactose specifically from the protein. So by weight also, it may may be anywhere between 50% and 80% protein. The rest of that is sort of just like the milk solids that were left over. In terms of whey protein isolate, the reason it's the gold standard is because it's about 95 to 98% protein, and most of the lactose, fat, and carbs from the milk product has been filtered out. So it's a lot more fast digesting. It's a lot more dense in branched chain amino acids. And sometimes it's just easier on the stomach because there's less lactose.
Sure. That's kind of like the biggest thing I've heard from people just in general is I can't do protein. It hurts my stomach. I can't, take this. And then they find an isolate and all of a sudden they're like, oh, this isn't too bad. Like I can actually stomach this. And that was honestly my story as well. Like until I found a good protein powder, I was like, I don't know if I can drink it. Okay, so let's talk about Nutricost Whey Protein Concentrate, okay? This is what we consider like a 5 out of 5 in terms of budget-friendly protein. It's actually it's a little less than $1 per serving, which I think is really good for a protein powder. And each serving contains 25 grams of protein. Now let's talk about carbs and fat. Like, what are we looking for when we're looking for a protein powder in terms of like those macros?
Ideally, you want to have as few carbs and fat as possible in your protein powder as you can because you're buying it to consume protein, right? As I said, with whey protein concentrate, the carb and fat content might be a little bit higher, especially depending on the flavor you're getting. But I think the macros on this one, despite being a concentrate, are not that bad.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that because when I'm comparing this to maybe a protein isolate, the fat on this, although it's only 3 grams, it is higher than what we see with others.
Yeah.
So if you are on a cut and you really have to watch your fat, just be aware that some concentrates might include more fat than others.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, awesome. And in terms of flavoring on this, the chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, I mean, these are basic flavors. There's nothing exciting, but I tasted the strawberry. I'm a strawberry girl at heart. I thought it was fantastic, and a lot of people on our team thought it was really good too. So in terms of flavoring, like, I'm all for this. I don't really have any complaints about this protein particularly.
Yeah, I'm also a strawberry girl. So I've never personally tried Nutricost, but from what it looks like a great like college student protein powder. So it's not like gold standard like protein hydrolysate with all the bells and whistles, but if you're just trying to get some protein powder in, it's a great option. I love the price.
Right. Also, though, when are we meeting up and drinking our favorite flavored pre-workout and drinking our flavored protein powder and then chatting? Okay, let's make that happen.
It's gonna happen. Let's do it.
So next is the best grass-fed whey protein powder. That's Momentous Grass-Fed Whey. I feel like grass-fed is like this huge marketing term right now. Does it carry weight, or is it just something that people go, oh, this seems better and we should have this?
Okay, so in terms of protein powder, I would not break your bank to get grass-fed whey. I will say, compared to non-grass-fed whey isolate, it does blend and taste better to me whenever I try it. But in terms of a higher quality protein, it's just absolutely not the case. The diet of the cow compared to grass-fed versus grain-fed, that just determines how much fat the cow tends to hold. So if you're buying grass-fed beef, it may be higher in protein. The fats that are in it are higher in omega-3s, and that's better for you. But since, as we mentioned with protein powder, fat and carbs are pretty much processed out, and you're just left with the protein, it doesn't really matter whether you're getting grass-fed whey or not.
But we can agree that European cows probably are a little bit more sophisticated than American cows.
Sure, they're probably more fun to hang out with. I don't know how it translates to the protein.
No, it doesn't. That was just a question. Okay, so with protein isolate, almost all the lactose is removed, definitely making it easier on the stomach. Those who are sensitive to dairy might want to check this one out. So, and like you were saying, the study found that, grass-fed dairy cows definitely have a better ratio of omega-3s and omega-6 fatty acids. Do you know how well that translates to a protein powder, or is that mainly just when it comes to like actual beef product?
I mean, it says it right there. It's the fat content that's more healthful for you, right? But in the context of Momentous, there's less than 1 gram of fat in it. So it's like, what benefits are you actually getting? Because it has no bearing on the protein quality. You get the same amount of branched chain amino acids. You get the same amount of protein content. So it really doesn't make too much of a difference, to be honest. It's still whey isolate.
And then just to mention, cost per serving, $2.70. So it is more expensive, right? That's a pretty expensive cost per serving. 20 grams of protein, so not as high, but still kind of meeting that mark almost, right? We're on the borderline of 20 grams, 3 grams of carbs, and then less than 1 gram of fat. So is this worth the cost? I am not sure. I'm on the fence about it. What's your opinion?
I mean, I wouldn't say $2.70 is a lot, and I think they're justifying it with the grass-fed, and I believe that it's third-party tested by 2 different bodies, which is something that's very, very rare to find. So you know that you're probably not going to get any banned substances in this. So if you're an athlete that's got a lot of money to spare, sure, but I think that you could find similar products for a better price.
Sure. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the best whey protein with BCAAs. Now, this is how Optimum Nutrition 100% Gold Standard Whey promotes their product. But from my understanding, BCAAs are in all protein powders, right?
All whey protein powders for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So is this maybe just like we want everybody to be aware? Like we're just going to put it on, or is there any like extra added benefit to these BCAAs and their dosage of them specifically?
I'll just tell you that we as sports dietitians don't even count grams of BCAAs. It's a very odd thing to measure because as long as you're getting high quality protein from animal sources like whey, dairy, meat, seafood, and all that, you're getting plenty of BCAAs. You don't even need to count them. You really just need to worry about what grams of protein you're getting from those sources. So yeah, it's not something that I would put too much bearing on in terms of your buying decision.
Sure. Yeah. So Honest, it says 25 grams of protein, which is great. It does count their grams of BCAA, so 5.5 grams, but at least we know. Okay.
Yeah.
At least we know. And then this is kind of unique because it combines 3 different types of protein, right? So it has the concentrate, it has the isolate, and then it also has the hydrolyzed whey protein. We've talked about concentrate, we've talked about isolate. What is hydrolyzed whey protein?
So hydrolyzed whey protein is basically whey isolate almost pre-digested for you. It's also 99% protein, so the protein content is slightly higher than what you would find in isolate. But for people that are very, very sensitive to lactose and even isolate messes with their stomach, I normally try to steer them to hydrolyzed whey protein or hydrolysate because virtually all of the lactose is removed in the processing.
And from my understanding, hydrolyzed whey protein can be more expensive, but this is actually not too bad. So, I mean, this has kind of been around for a long time, this Optimum Nutrition protein, right? And so in terms of its cost, it's not too bad. $1.17 per scoop, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, I want to talk about your favorite protein. What is it? What flavor? Tell us about the brand. And then also just like, what are your protein goals right now as a registered dietitian who works specifically with athletes and then is also super active herself?
When I first started working out, I lived and died by Optimum Nutrition strawberry. Like that was my thing. But after a while, because of my lactose intolerance, my stomach started to get upset by it. But not long after that, I started to work with Legion, which I'm actually drinking right now. Right now, I'm drinking the apple pie, but my favorite flavor from Legion is the fruity cereal. It tastes just like Fruit Loops, and I can't get enough of it. So that is another grass-fed product I just love the taste of. But in terms of my protein goals, I'm doing a combination of lifting and martial arts. So right now, I'm just trying to maintain my muscle mass, not really trying to bulk or anything like that, but just trying to meet my protein goals, which is still about 1 gram per my body weight, which is 120 grams of protein. So I like to have a shake like midday just to help get me ahead before I have my lunch and my dinner for the rest of the day.
Awesome. Is there any sort of misinformation that you want to clear up for people about protein powders in general?
One big thing that I always just like to throw out there when we're talking about protein powders is just to be wary of weight gainers and mass gainers. They are useful for people that we consider to be hard gainers, but a lot of people that are just impatient with their muscle growth will self-proclaim that they're a hard gainer and they need one of those. But in terms of additives and just like extra ingredients that could cause you problems, mass gainers are very notorious for that, especially if they're not third-party tested. But outside of that, there's not a lot of bad things that I can say about protein powder. Just know what your sensitivities are, look at the ingredient list, and make sure that it has the right amount.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Love chatting with you. I'm going to send you a basket of strawberries, and we'll have you on again soon.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Lindsay.
All right, guys, this has been Lindsay with Browshare Reviews. We'll see you back here next time.